Chapter 6, Lesson 5, Writing Equations from Tables and Graphs. We are still looking at the linear equation of y equals mx plus b. We know that m is the slope. We find it by using the rise over run, the change in y over change in x, or the constant rate of change in a table, which is also the unit rate. We know that in a word problem, it is the words per and each. Today, we'll be focusing on the rise over the run. We'll be creating the triangles above the line. Remember, if you run left, it is negative. If you run right, it is positive. This is how we know if it's a positive or negative slope. We will also be identifying the y-intercept, which is the starting point in graphing our line. We know the y-intercept because it is the point on the y-axis where x is always 0. In words, we know that the registration fee will indicate the y-intercept, a startup fee, an application fee, or any one-time fee. Let's take a look at example number 1. The first thing we are going to look at is identifying the slope. Remember, you pick 2 points that are on your line that are at major crossroads. If you can avoid it, you don't want to pick any points that are in the middle of the square. So I'm going to go ahead and choose this point and this point. And remember, you're going to rise and run. I'm going to rise 1, 2, 3, 4. So I go up 4, and it looks like I'm going left 1. And remember, left means that it is negative. So my slope, you're going to rise over run. It is 4 over negative 1, which means it is negative 4. Your y-intercept. Remember, it is where x equals 0. So if I go where x equals 0, and I'm going to follow the y-axis where my linear equation crosses the y-axis, I know this is my y-intercept. This will be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Therefore, my y-intercept is 5. And now I can write my equation. Y equals negative 4x plus 5. Let's try example number 2. The first thing I'm going to do is try to identify my slope. I'm going to pick 2 points along my line that cross at an intersection. I'm going to pick this one, and I'll pick this one. There are other points along the line that I can choose from, but if you're doing it correctly, all your points will simplify down to the same unit rate. Because remember, it creates a straight line, which means it has a constant rate of change, which also means that your rise over run will always simplify to the same number. I'm going up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to go up 6. I'm going left 1, 2, 3, 4. So since I went left 4, my slope is negative 4. So I'm going to write my slope as rise over run. So I went up 6 and left 4. These can both be simplified by 2, and I know my slope is negative 3 over 2. Now I can find my y-intercept. I'm going to go where x equals 0 and go up to my linear equation line, and I know that my y-intercept is 0, 1. Therefore, b equals 1. And now I can write my linear equation. Y equals negative 3 over 2 times x plus 1. Let's take a look at example number 3. Example number 3, I am going to determine my slope first. So again, I'm going to pick 2 points that cross at an intersection along my line. It doesn't matter which 2 points. Going to create my triangle. I know I'm going up. Oh, and look at this. Pay attention because these are counting up by 2s. So I'm going to go ahead and count these as 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, and 16. So I went up 16, and I'm going to the right. Those are also counting by 2s. So I'm going to the right, 2, 4, 6, and 8. So I went right 8, which means that it is positive. My slope is my rise over run, which is 16 over 8. This simplifies by 8. My slope is 2 over 1. My Y-intercept. I'm going to go where x equals 0, follow my y-axis to where it crosses. Looks like my Y-intercept is at 0, 4. So at 0, 4, b equals 4. And now I can write my equation. Y equals 2x plus 4. Let's see if you can do number 5 by yourself. Number 4 is a bit tricky, only because if you notice on our line, there are no points that will cross a major intersection. So at this time, we are going to have to use halfway points. But this is okay. I will show you how to do it. For my slope, I'm going to attempt to pick a point that is on a line so that I know that it's kind of a halfway mark. So I'm going to go ahead and pick this point, and then I will even pick this one here as well. So I'm going to go up, and what's really cool is that it looks like I could actually put maybe halfway marks between all my squares, and I can count from half to half, half to half. So this would make it 1, 2, 3, and 4. So I can still use whole sections to count that I went up 4. And these are going 1, 2, 3, 4 to the right. So my slope, rise over run, is 4 over 4, which we know is equivalent to 1. Now I can find my y-intercept, go where x equals 0, and I'm going to go down, and this one's halfway between -1 and -2. So I know this is 0, -1.5. So my y-intercept is -1.5, where b equals -1.5. And now I can write my equation. Y equals x minus 1.5. See, that wasn't so bad. This is not going to be very common, but I just wanted to make sure that I gave you a chance to see it. Let's take a look at example number 6.